Okie doke.
Okay,
We're live again.
Hello, folks.
Here we are
Here we
again.
go. Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Cheers.
Cha-ching.
It's mostly non-alcoholic, I assure you, but still, looks like the real thing.
It looks like that.
Ooh.
I can't believe it's not grape juice, you know?
Yeah, well, now, we had a last-minute cancellation from the lady we were going to have today, but she will come back. She had a filming commitment that just would not go away, so you're stuck with us two today as two old tarts.
Absolutely.
However, what do you think, Ruth? How should we entertain our friends?
Chit-chat until people show up and, you know, have a cup of tea or a virtual glass of wine and
jolly good.
Tell the peeps what's going on in Playa del Rey, which is Angie's writing yet another bloody book.
The history of tea, all kinds of stuff. And then another one called Angie's third act or last chapter or whatever. That's a bit depressing. We'll see about the title.
Well, I don't think it's depressing.
Don't you?
No.
My third act, or is it my fourth? Who knows?
I don't think it's, you know, when we were discussing this next book, In My Life, it's going to be called.
Okay.
It's really, when you think about what this old tart's lived through in almost 9.5 decades, you know, toilet down the yard, toilet paper was
the Echo
newspaper on a rusty nail.
Torn up into squares,
And now we're dealing with, you know, AI and self-delivery, Amazon delivery drones.
Yeah, drones. Yeah.
So there's
I know.
Quite a bit gone on in your life.
I think 5 monarchs, or is it 6? I don't know. I've got a list of them somewhere.
It's 5. You've been through 5 monarchs.
Yeah.
Kings and queens.
Yeah.
And crowned heads of state.
I know. And more queens than kings, actually.
Well, yeah.
If you count a lot of our friends.
Let's keep some of the Windsors out there, shall we?
Yes, okay.
Dear,
so, what do you think, eh? Oh, what about some of my limericks? Not my little things that I have on file. I've got all sorts of odds and ends, which I've jotted a few down here.
Dirty ditties.
No, well, I decided on clean ones, actually, because, I mean, some of mine are very raunchy, and I don't want to offend anybody.
Well, so, which is my favorite. Some of you may have heard this one before. There was a young lady from Bude who went for a swim in the
lake.
A man in a punt stuck a pole in her
ear
and said, "You can't swim here, it's private."
But a bum.
You see.
That sounds like a Julia Neal, doesn't it? Are you watching, Julia?
No, I don't see her on. She might be watching, but she's not commenting. So
okay, fine.
But we got to sitting around the other day thinking about where do all of the old sea shanties go? You know, all of the folks are in Liverpool this week for the International Beetle Week Festival, and you've got your Ashley Davey, Frida Kelly, May Pang, Chris O'Dell. They're all over there. Ivor Davis has gone over.
That's right.
And
Shannon MacDonald.
Shannon MacDonald unveiled an incredible new painting.
Oh, yeah.
On Matthew Street, from Beale Street to the Beatles and back.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to talk to her when she comes back. We'll have her on and get her whole Beatle Week thing.
Mm-hmm. And quite a guitarist too, isn't she?
She is, and she builds guitars. She's
a luthier. Yeah.
Artistshannon.com.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I told all these folks to go into the White Star on a Wednesday afternoon and go in the back room where they sing all of these old Irish
shanties
and lullabies and stuff.
And limericks and stuff.
That was what got us talking about some of the songs that Angie's family used to sing in the 1400s, you know.
And we were all into parodies. There used to be an actress called Carmen Miranda.
Oh, yeah.
They called her the Brazilian bombshell, but she wasn't from Brazil. I don't know where she's from.
Solihull, I think.
Yeah, probably. But she used to wear big headgear things with
grapes and bananas and
birds and feathers.
Could make you a hat out of our fruit bowl, couldn't I?
Probably. Just put a chin strap on it.
Grapes for earrings, except they'd be $15.
Yeah, well, I've got teapots for earrings today.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Yes.
Indeed.
My little teapot. Anyway, Carmen Miranda used to sing, and it was a samba song that was, I can't remember the samba's title, but it was a samba. And she used to sing. Are you ready?
This one here?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Okay. A little rhubarb tart will always play its part if you should ever have a visitor for tea. A macaroni cheese will put you at his ease, and it's better than a bread and butter pudding would be. A little pecan pie will never harm a fly, spite of everything you read about in books.
You'll never get in debt if you can afford to get a ticket for the cinema deluxe to rhyme with books.
I've an uncle who was living down in Bogside, and he wears a Norfolk jacket made of hog's hide. He wears a pair of +4s and gets a round of applause when he appears upon the promenade at Hove. Now there were really not exactly what you'd call nuts. He's a bugger when it comes to pickled walnuts.
I've an uncle down in Sutton who
And
was really quite a glutton when it comes to eating mutton in the fall.
And an auntie down in Pinner who is getting
really thinner
because she won't eat any dinner. That is all.
That is all. Cha-cha-cha. So that was it.
I don't think there's any big record company executives banging on the front door yet, do you?
Martin says we're not drunk enough.
No, I know.
We're working on it.
Okay.
We're working on it.
So I tell you what, how's this for a bit of a tongue twister? My brother-in-law, Ralph Butchard, used to sing this after a couple of pints. Which switch is the switch, miss, for Ipswich? It's the Ipswich switch which I require. You've switched me on Northwich, not Ipswich. You've switched my switch on the wrong wire. Oh, you've switched me on Northwich, not Ipswich. So now to prevent further hitch, if you'll tell me which switch is Northwich and which switch is Ipswich, I know which switch is which. Boom, boom.
Remember when they used to have those operators, didn't they? Do it literally,
that's right,
plug
yes.
in the calls in.
Yes, that's
one
right.
ringy dingy, two ringy dingy. And we have in England, we have Northwich and Ipswich, so that's probably where that song came from.
Yeah.
Well, you think now we've got a landline. We've got 2 landlines here still in case of earthquakes, emergencies and stuff. And one of them has got water damage in it. And Frontier keeps coming and saying, oh, well, it's your box outside and it's your inside wiring and that'll be, $3,000. Well, 167 of us in Playa del Rey can't be wrong. We're all experiencing the same thing.
It's watery thing.
It's watery thing. So finally, Frontier's written to me and said, oh, well, yes, it's our switching station down in the wetlands. We live up a $400 hill, a 400-foot hill. They couldn't put the switching station up above sea level. No, they build it in the, quote, wetlands. Mm-hmm. And then they wonder why there's water in it. So they're in there. I got a voice message the other day. It's probably going to take several weeks to restore your landline. So we can make you this offer of switching you to digital fiber optic cable.
And it's only $40 a month more than you're paying right now.
It's $149 to install it and $40 a month more to get it. And I'm like, no thanks.
No.
So then the next thing I get a call from Frontier. So glad you're interested in our fiber optic cable. But off.
Sod off.
So let's go back to the switch for Ipswich.
Yes, okay.
And
switch on the wrong wire. I tell you a lovely one. I dreamed this the other night, just before I wakened up in the morning. And I had to write it down because, anyway, listen carefully as I will begin.
Oh, this one. Okay.
This one.
La 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 la. Mercy dotes and dozy dotes and little lambsy tivy, a kiddly tivy too, wouldn't you?
Oh, mercy dotes and dozy dotes and little lambsy tivy, a kiddly tivy too, wouldn't you? Now if the words sound queer and funny to your ear, a little bit jumbled and jivey, sing mares eat oats and does eat oats and little lambs eat ivy. Oh, Mersey dotes and dozy dotes, a little lambsy tivy, a kiddly tivy too, wouldn't you? Boom, boom.
There you go.
Awesome.
I don't think that made the Liverpool charts, though.
Taylor Swift begging me to let us do that.
She's terror-dialing me on the other line. I'm not picking up.
She won't stop.
I've had it.
Oh,
Sammy Starshine knows that song.
Oh, you do?
Indeed.
Good.
See?
Hello, Sammy. How are you, darling? Mm-hmm.
Behaving yourself down there in Atlanta, we hope.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And there was one I got. I wrote my very first fan letter to a performer in London called Richard Murdoch.
How old would you have been?
10, maybe 11.
Wow.
And I just wrote to Richard Murdoch, BBC London. Wow. It's like the ones we used to get to our house that said Paul McCartney, England.
Or Paul Liverpool.
Paul Liverpool, yeah. But it evidently found him because he wrote me a lovely handwritten letter. And he used to do a radio show with the comedian Arthur Askey on the BBC. This was during World War II. Yes, I'm that old. And I said I loved the parodies that he did. And he sent me this one. He hand wrote it, and he said, maybe you'd like to learn this and make it your party piece, because everybody had a party piece in those days.
Oh, yeah.
Used to get round the piano Friday nights, and the men have a couple of beers and the ladies a drop of nasty cheap sherry, which we still do. Anyway, this is the song that he sent me, and it was to the tune of a piece of music called the Egyptian Ballet, which is well known.
Walk like an Egyptian ballet dancer.
Yes, okay, fine. So,
my aunt's name is Eloise Waterbutton, and she lives down at Burton-on-Trent. When she goes out shopping on a bicycle, she always gets her handlebars bent. Steak and kidney, 7 and a tanners with a little bit of chicken and a marlin spike. Hutch and Ted Ray at the Metropolitan are doing even better than at Heckman Dwight. Sabadine has lovely houses, Gabardine makes lovely trousers. All the Carmen now sing Carmen, orchestrated by John Sharman. Rhubarb and custard is not a nice thing to eat in bed. Corned beef and mustard is really the thing to eat instead. 17 fiddles in a second-hand suitcase, semolina pudding in a battered old flute case. Cabinet ministers shout, what a very silly song. I'm out second verse. Force meatballs are very indigestible unless you eat them covered in cheese. When you eat stewed mutton in a restaurant, remove your hats and cover your knees. Late night finals, pick another winner out and take a bit of trouble with your football pools. Climbing up Mount Popocatepetl is a little bit above a boy at boarding school. Aberdeen,
Oh, I've done that one.
Sorry.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Ladies' pajamas are never quite what they ought to be. Gentlemen farmers are never quite what they're thought to be. Cinnamon lozenges are really quite useful, especially when you're feeling just a little bit boostful. Mr. Black's looking quite white. What a very silly song. Good night. And I guess I have to explain. Oh, thank you. Applause from the cheapsies. Just rattle your jewellery, Martin. I know that's
Brendan's saying we've gone abstract. Absolutely.
Yes,
Brendan.
we have.
Yes.
Yes. But for the uninitiated, Hutch and Ted Ray were two musical performers. John Sharman, that we mentioned, was the musical director of the show. It was called The Bandwagon. And what else? Oh, Mr. Black. Mr. Black's looking quite white. He was the leader of the orchestra that accompanied all this nonsense.
And he'd gone white from the silly song. Dear, oh dear.
Yeah, I particularly liked some of Noel Coward's stuff.
Oh, I love him.
It was wonderful. You can find a lot of it on YouTube. And he had wonderful songs like, Don't Put Your Daughter on the Stage, Mrs. Worthington.
Don't put your daughter on the stage.
We're not going to do that.
She's a bit of a, I can't remember, but it's copyright, so we can't sing it.
No, that's right. No, exactly.
All the other stuff is old.
And then he had a lovely one. This is Martin's favourite. Don't let's be beastly to the Germans.
As we've obviously got them on the run.
Okay, no more.
No, that's my copyright limit.
Yeah, and that's another one I love. Mad Dogs and Englishmen
go out in the midday sun.
Yeah, I recommend that you go to YouTube and have a look for Noel Coward.
Yeah. What about your Noel Coward story? You met him, didn't you?
Oh, I did, yeah. I was a junior in the box office at the Liverpool Royal Court Theatre. And on May the 8th, 1945, which is the day the war ended, and I was due to go to the Liverpool Empire that night with my friend Rita Harrison. We were going to see Frankie Lane, the American, yeah. And it was made known to us during the day as we got this wonderful news that the war was over, that Noel Coward was going to throw a party on the stage after the show. And I said to our box office manager...
How old were you, 14?
14, yeah. And no, I was 15, actually, I think.
At your full-time job?
Yeah.
Yeah, walk it off, kids.
Yeah, follow me.
With bombs dropping.
Yeah.
I could go on, but go on.
No. So, she went through to Mr. Mason, who was the theatre manager, and she said, Angela would love to come to the party, but she's too young. She said her mother would never let her stay out that late. So he went to Mr. Coward's dressing room and related the story to him. And he said, send the child to me. So, of course, I was summoned to go in his dressing room, nearly fell down the steps into the room, and I was all excited. And he said, what's the problem, child? And I was just overwhelmed to be this close to this huge,
icon. Yeah.
Yes, I know. And I told him the story, and he said, oh, what's your mother's name? I said, Edith. And he got a flourish out of his desk piece of paper and wrote in his own hand, "Dear Edith, or may I call you Mrs. Stopforth? Your daughter tells me that she won't be allowed to stay out that late, but I would like to undertake that we'll take very good care of her. And I'm enclosing in this letter a £5 note, which will pay for taxis for her to get home safely. And I assure you, we don't want her to miss this wonderful night." So, of course, my
Was
mother
it a big white fiver?
a big white £5 note, yes. Yeah, and they were, weren't they? They were about like
huge.
8.5 by 11.
Yeah.
And they were thin, crispy, weren't they?
They weren't
you
around.
ever see them?
No, they were
I
retired
thought
before
yeah,
my
probably
time.
got
I've
one.
seen them, but they weren't legal tender when I was
No,
growing
they're
up.
not legal tender anymore. But of course, she was thrilled to let me get in my best frock and even put a bit of lipstick on and go back to the party, which was a memorable night. And how he did it, I don't know, but he was staying at the Adelphi Hotel, where they've just had a lot of the Beatle activities this week.
Stuff, yeah.
And he got onto them and managed to get all sorts of champagne and beer and wine and
Lobsters and
soft
shrimp
lemonade,
and-
all kinds of food. And he had trestle tables up on the table when the last act was on the stage. And the
Fantastic.
orchestra stayed in the pit and played till, oh, God knows what time in the middle of the night.
Great.
And it was just an incredible night. I'll never forget it.
Which is precisely why now you see in her 9.5 decades, she's experienced all these incredible things that I wanted to write this book called In My Life that she's working on. So I don't think that's depressing at all. I think that's just a slice of history.
Yeah.
I mean, you were on the day the war ended
in
Liverpool, you were one of probably 100 people to have that experience. How many of them are still alive to tell the tale?
Yes, possibly.
You know, Noel Coward's not here.
Yeah.
Right?
And now I've started down this track. I keep thinking, remembering all sorts of other things. I played the piano in a shop window in Bowl Street for a week once on my holidays.
You and I woke up in a shop window in King's Lynn.
Oh, well, that's another story, yeah.
It was a mattress shop, and there had been a party.
Yeah. It was the launch of some cosmetics, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was some one of these MLM things where, you know, you sign up 10 people under you and you can retire a millionaire in 90 days or something.
Yeah.
And they'd hired this Swedish actor to pretend he was some kind of royalty and whatever. And he flew into this little town called King's Lynn, which is where the Sandringham estate is. And I was 18, maybe 19. And I was suckered into this thing and I joined it and bought a bunch of lipstick and, you know, had a garage full of nail polish and crap for months. And he threw this party on the high street in King's Lynn in a friend of his furniture shop. I don't know why, but there was lots of wine.
Because there was room to set up a bar.
What have you. And we hadn't moved to Nelson Street yet. We were living out in Tilney All Saints in the boonies.
Yeah.
And neither of us wanted to drive home. So we just snuggled into a bed in the furniture shop and hid and went to sleep.
Yeah, and wakened up next morning and there's a bus queue outside the window. People were
all these people
waiting
looking
for the
in
bus
the window
with their
going,
umbrellas up.
what are these two mad tarts doing in the
I had forgotten that.
They must have locked us in there. I mean, what if there was a fire or something? Can you imagine?
But there wasn't. And we're still here to tell the tale.
Mad old bags.
I
we
know,
are.
yeah.
God,
But
those was the days.
yeah. But I will be very interested to know if any of you lot are brave enough to still be watching us, or whether you've all said, God, they're at it again.
No.
No. Oh, yes, there's a few. That's one or two people. I know we can always rely on Paul Moody.
Yeah.
He's our #1 Limerick fan, isn't he?
He's down at the Arbor Room down there.
Oh,
but
yeah.
there's some just lovely old, you know, English things like the songs that we've been singing today and whatever, which is what propelled me to dig into recipes. So when Angie's tea book will be available, it's called All You Need Is Tea, is coming very soon to Amazon and Mrs. McCartney's teas.com. And there will be a free ebook giveaway recipe book. And I've compiled almost 200 old recipes. Some of them are really uncommon. They're disappearing, like posset and Eton mess and Cranachan and not Dundee cake, but Kentish tart and things like this. And so I've had a lot of fun, you know, researching these old recipes and also making all the images, because I can't afford to go buy all the ingredients. God knows at these days prices.
Oh, yeah.
Cook everything and get a photographer to come in and light everything. So I've been working with 3 different AI apps to create realistic images of food, and it's absolutely
marvelous, isn't it? Yeah.
It's incredible what
Yeah.
you can do. So when All You Need Is Tea comes out, if you have a copy, you'll be able to scan the QR code in the middle of the book, and then I'm formatting it so you'll have this recipe book on your iPad, and you can just cook along with it and whatever, and then that will have all the full color photos. The book, unfortunately, like the Limerick book, we have to do in black and white, as it's not ecologically friendly to use all that colored dye, and it's not cost efficient to do so either. But Amazon does an incredible job with self-publishing. If there are any of you out there that think they have a book in you have a book in you, there's a couple of, especially if you're a lady, if you're a woman, our dear friend Pamela Desbar teaches these writing workshops.
Yeah.
You should go to her website, Pamela, DESBARRES official.com. And she goes all over the country. You can sign up for these writing workshops. And then once you actually have a manuscript, if you have an Amazon account, a little known fact, digital diva tip coming up, you can literally just type in KDP for Kindle Direct Publishing. That's what it stands for, kdp.amazon.com. Sign in with your regular Amazon account, and you will see this bookshelf where you can upload your manuscript, design your cover, and publish it. They tell you what it's
lovely too.
Quality's great.
Yeah.
They tell you what it's going to cost. You set your profit pricing, and if you sell a book, they will print one and ship one. And you can ship. You can have people are buying Limerick books. We sold a couple in Japan last week, but they're printed locally in Japan, so it's more environmentally friendly than shipping it, from here across the world.
And when I got a letter from Queen Camilla saying yes, she'd love to have a go, I go again.
Let me get that name for you.
And I got onto Amazon in England and gave them the address, Buckingham Palace. I think everybody knows the address, to send a copy. And then in due course, I got another letter from Queen Camilla saying she'd received it.
Yeah.
So they obviously follow. I thought, maybe it will never reach her.
I'm actually going to grab the
It was at the time when Princess Kate was first announced to be ill, and the king had been diagnosed with cancer. So I thought, the amount of correspondence they'll both be getting to Buckingham Palace's mail department, I'm sure my little Limerick book will never get there. But sure enough, it did within a couple of weeks. So, if you want to order it in another country,
you can.
Yeah,
this is it. It's a beautiful quality. They've done a great job with the color. And
is that the shirt? No. Yeah,
it's a hard cover. But you'll see in the back that it was printed in Columbia, South Carolina on such and such a date. We usually get our books that we order on demand from the likes of Jim Gath and so on. We usually get those and they say printed in Las Vegas. But it's like collecting stamps. It's really interesting to see, how they spread the love of which print presses. And the great thing too with this is it's creating American jobs. It's keeping printing presses alive.
That's right.
A lot of this stuff is outsourced to little mom and pop printing people, because that is such a specialized industry.
Oh, absolutely.
I learned about this much of it from Simon Mills and Stephen Wilson from Imagine and Wonder, the publishers of There Are Faces I Remember. There's just, weights of paper and the finishes and perfect bound and saddle stitching and
that's right.
bookmarks and all of this other stuff.
And different colored papers too.
Different,
Yeah, we're going. What is it we're going to do? Yellow?
We're going to do a cream interior this time. I think it's easier on the eye.
Yeah.
But if there's any of you out there thinking about, I should write a book, just go to kdp.amazon.com. You can download the template and fill it all in and re-upload it, design your cover right there, and you too can be an author. Wouldn't that be fun?
I know. I never dreamed I would be.
No? How many books you got now?
I'm on my ninth.
Ninth? Oh,
and I didn't start till I was 82 and a half.
Well, you see, never say never.
No.
What about, speaking of old farts, what about the old broad who jumped out of the plane for her 102nd birthday?
Yes.
Did anybody see her on the news the other night? She was on David Muir, and she did a tandem jump out of an airplane at 102 and then took everyone to the pub for beer.
For beer, yeah. That's my girl.
Which is absolutely fantastic.
I don't think I'll be doing any of that nonsense.
Oh, Joanne, you're going to want to rewind it. Ange and I are having drinks and singing songs. Yeah, Sammy, you should definitely check it out.
Okay.
And, if it's a poetry book or whatever it is, I believe everybody's got a book in them. And the great thing is with on demand.
Oh, you should talk. I've been trying to get her to write a book for.
Who's going to buy it? Come on.
Well, yeah.
Okay. It's a lot of work, but
she'd rather do the lot of work for me.
Yeah.
For no pay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot of love.
Green Shield stamps and non-alcoholic wine is why I get paid. Remember Green Shield stamps?
Oh gosh, yes.
I used to collect books of them and then swap them in for ugly drinking glasses.
Dreadful plastic glasses. Yes.
What was the point of Green Shield stamps?
To encourage you to buy more gasoline.
Oh,
or
like
petrol
customer loyalty thing?
Yeah, that's right.
Because if you shop there, you got the stamps.
You got the stamps, yeah.
Because there was no such thing as data collection in the old days.
Oh, no. But it's like the mileage you get with American Express for every dollar you spend. And every now and then I go in and grab
Amazon.
Grab all the mileage and get it towards my next American Express bill.
Yep, you can do that
More
too.
singing.
You can do that too. Oh, sod
People
off.
want more singing.
I know. Well, I haven't got any more singing because I don't know all the Geist songs by heart yet that you're writing. We invited Martin on today, but he said, "Oh,
It's
not
too
going to talk
big
about
time.
it." He's just too much of a star.
It's too big time.
What are you going to do?
Oh,
Well,
but
wish
I
we could find-
suppose.
Oh, Sammy, we need a book from Ruth. Oh, you big help you are. Jeez.
Yes. Yeah, go on. All starting
Oh,
now.
and Martin's like, oh my God, the places I've been or wanted to be. Well, yeah, that would be a big atlas, Albert. And some of the places I've been are St. Charles, Illinois, to a certain speakeasy with a certain gentleman named Albert, you see. So we definitely have to put that in there.
Oh,
wouldn't we?
yes, yeah.
That's so crazy.
But
I'm going to Google right now. I'm
Yeah.
going to try and find the poem that you always get halfway through and never.
not the farting contest.
The farting contest.
Oh, no. It's too rude.
Why is
I
it
know
so
a bit of
rude?
it.
Oh, here
That's
it
what
is.
people want.
Here it is.
Okay,
Here
yeah.
we go.
Okay.
All right. So, 1, 2, 3. I'll tell you a story that's certain to please of a grand farting contest at
Shittamon-Pease.
It's a Stockton-on-Tees, the clean one.
Shittamon-Pease, okay.
Where all the best arses parade in a field to take part in a contest for various shields. Some tuned their arses to fart up the scale, to strive for a cup or a barrel of ale, while women whose arses were biggest and strongest competed in contests for loudest and longest.
Now, this Easter evening,
no.
I know my part. I can't read that, it's too small.
Okay, well,
So I have to do my memory-based stuff. This Easter evening, I draw a large crowd, and the betting was even on Mrs. McLeod. She fancied her chances at winning with ease, having trained on a diet of cabbage and peas.
They say old Mrs. Jones had a perfect backside with a bunch of red hairs and a wart on each side. Some fancied her chances of winning with ease. There you
having
go.
trained on a
diet of cabbage and peas.
Plagiarism,
You
see?
see?
Yeah.
So that's you. Read that one.
Okay, old Mrs. Potluck was back for a place. She had often been caught in the deepest disgrace for shocking the vicar, old Marmaduke Morgan. Her farting in church made more noise than the organ.
The contestants lined up for the signal to start. Mrs. Jones won the toss and was given first fart. The crowd was astonished to silence and wonder how that goofy old bird gave off such a thunder.
Next, Mrs. Potluck just came to the front and startled the crowd with a wonderful stunt. With her wide-parted cheeks and tightly clenched hands, she blew off the roof of the newly built stands.
The vicar, poor sod, got a terrible fright. The force of the fart set his arsehole alight. It demolished the band and melted the trumpet. But Mrs. Jones draws off and toasted her crumpet.
Mrs. McLeod simply sniggered at this. She lapped up some beer and was all wind and piss. With her hands on her hips and her legs parted wide, she suddenly shat and was disqualified.
Then Mrs. Pugh arrived amidst a hail of applause and promptly proceeded to pull down her drawers. For though her folks thought her chances were small, she took the first prize by out-farting them all. She walked to the pavilion with a maidenly gait and received from the vicar a set of gold plate. She turned to the crowd who had started to sing while she farted the first verse of God Save the King.
There goes my damehood. Sorry, King Charles.
I'm so glad we found that.
Oh, yeah, wonderful.
I might get that tattooed on me, on my arm. I've been wondering about my first tattoo.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be a banana, Nick Black, if you're watching.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, man. Well, this was just silly fun.
Yeah.
And thanks for joining. Sorry about our guest being on
you
on
get
a film
time
set.
off for good behavior, though, folks. So
Yeah.
we're going to let you go a little early.
Yep.
And in case Paul Moody is getting his knickers in a twist. Ah, there he is. Hello, Paul. We have a limerick for you.
Well,
of course.
yes,
well, for
indeed,
everybody, but knowing you're looking
dedicated to
okay.
Paul.
My
gratitude's yours all the way
for staying the course for today. Next week we'll be saner with a real entertainer. A reward for your patience, I pray.
Thank you, kids.
Okay.
Well, you can find all Angie's goings on her Facebook page and at mrsmccartneysteas.com. Fall is coming. You need to order your teas and your books and all that good stuff. So thanks for hanging in there with us. We love you all lots. And we will see you next week all of a sudden.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Talk to you soon. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.